I stopped by Grey Malk's place last night. The mistress actually set down a plate of food for me on the back step. I realized then that Jill was far younger than I thought, now that she wasn't wearing her crazy clothes and had her hair down loose rather than tied back and hidden under a bandana. And she was a good cook. I can't remember when I've eaten so well. Afterwards, Grey Malk and I headed for the mansion. It was an exceptionally clear night, and there were stars all over the sky. It just occurred to me that you're a bird watcher, I said. Of course. Have you seen an albino raven anywhere about? As a matter of fact, I have. Here and there. Several weeks now. Why? It occurred to me that it might be the vicar's companion. Just a matter of proximity and a guess, really. I'll watch for it now, of course. Someone with a crossbow passed us at the distance. He was moving by the other direction. We stood, still, letting him go by. Was that him? Just a member of the midnight congregation, I said. Not the man himself. Sense wrong. I'll remember that one, though. Streaks of high clouds fluorescent above us from the stars they framed. A gust of wind stirred my fur. I hunted rats and ate out of dustbins. I saw my kittens killed and was hung by my tail and abused by wicked urchins, Grey Malk said suddenly, all before the mistress found me. She was an orphan. She'd lived on the streets and her life had been even worse. I'm sorry, I said. I've seen some bad times myself. If the way is opened, things should change. For the better? Maybe. On the other paw, if it isn't opened, things may change too? For the better? I don't know, Snuff. Does anyone really care about a hungry cat? Except for a few friends? Maybe that's all anyone has. Maybe that's all anyone ever has. No matter how the big show is run. Still, yeah, hard times, they really do bring out the revolutionary in a person, don't they? Also, sometimes, the cynicism. Like you, I suppose. The more things change. So that's the mansion, she said suddenly, pausing to regard the big structure which had just come into view. A few lights visible within. I've never been over this way before. No, nothing really unusual. Let's go down and take a look around. There were many darkened rooms about the place. Off in the kitchen, we noted the head of the stairway leads downwards. That's about where I should be coming up, she said. When I reach the top, I'll pass through the kitchen. If the great detective's gone by then, I can explore the further side of the house first. Sounds like a good plan. We let ourselves down to the ground level and rounded the corner of the basement. Luck, I told her, and she entered. I went back to the window and watched the kitchen. The man was in no hurry to leave, nibbling as he waited for water to boil, taking out a willow-patterned plate and a bowl from a cupboard, nibbling some more, hunting utensils from a drawer, turning up from another cupboard one of those white cups with the gold rim and the gold flower inside that everybody has, taking another nibble. Finally, I saw Grey Malk at the head of the stair. How long she'd been there, unmoving, watching. I just wasn't certain. When his back was turned, she slipped into the near hall. As I had no vantage in that era, I made a few circuits of the house to pass the time. Checking out the new neighbor, Snuff? Came a voice from a tree to the east. It never hurts to be thorough, I replied. What about you, Nightwind? The same. But that Linda Emberline, she's not a player. We're almost sure of it. Oh, you've met? Yes, she visited the master yesterday. They He feels she's harmless. Glad to know that somebody is. Unlike the vicar, huh? You've been talking to Quick Lime. Yes. I thought you had odd since you dropped it in the river. A misunderstanding. We've smoothed it over since. What did you give him for the vicar? Needle's nightly feeding route, he said. Maybe he plans to ambush him and eat him. Nightwind made a chuckling sound, something halfway between a hoot and a gasp. That would be amusing. Not to Needle. He chuckled again. That's true, isn't it? I can almost hear him crying. That's not funny. Then gulp, he'd have all the last laughs. I've never eaten a bat, I said. They're not bad. A little salty, though. Say, since I run into you, can we do a little business? Nothing major, but I'll take whatever's there, huh? Okay, what do you got? After I heard about the vicar, I went looking around his place. I met his companion. Big white raven? I've seen it. Well, I decided on the direct approach. Her name's Tickla, and she seemed behind on the game, trying to catch up. Didn't have much to trade, but all she wanted was a list of players and their companions. She could get it from someone else if she didn't get it from me, so figured I might as well get whatever she had. First, she did know that you're one of us, you and your bird-eating friend. She told me she'd seen you a few nights back with another big dog dragging a body to the river. That was a missing officer, wasn't it? I won't deny it. Did you or Jack kill him? No, but the body turned up too near home for us to be comfortable about it. And you were just getting rid of it? Would you want that thing on your front yard? Certainly not. But I'm curious about your friend. Tekla recognized you as she swooped by. Not the other dog. She followed it when you parted. She said it went to Larry Talbot's place. Yeah? So? We've been puzzled whether or not he's a player. One argument against the assumption was he didn't have a companion. Now, what was Tekla doing way out in the field that night? Presumably she was patrolling the area in general, as we all do. Presumably, I said, her master was involved in that man's death, and she went looking for the body after I'd moved it. And she found it. She was keeping an eye to see whether whoever put it there would be back to do anything more with it. He was silent, and he shrank a little with his feathers. That's what I was going to trade you for the story on Larry's companion. But do you know how he died? She did tell me that. Just then I saw it. Had a vision of the officer, drugged and knocked out, tied up on the altar as the vicar blessed an edged instrument. Ceremonial killing, I said. One of his midnight services. It's early in the cycle for one, but that's what happened. Then he left the remains out by our place for a bit of misdirection. He needed it for extra power because he'd gotten off to a late start. All right, I'll give you something else for Talbot. Concerning what? The good doctor. Done. I hadn't heard anything about him for a while. The dog's astray from town. Name is Lucky. I gave him some of my food when he was around, and he does favors for me. He hangs around Talbot's place, too, because Talbot saves scraps for him. It's too big for anyone to want to feed on a regular basis, though, which is why he doesn't have a real home. You might even spot him in the woods or the fields at night hunting rabbits. Oh, Nightwind said, rotating his head 90 degrees to stare at the mansion. That spoils one of Morris's new theories. You're a calculator, aren't you? My, Quicklime was chatty. Just came out in passing. If Talbot was indeed a player, with the vicar now in the game, well, things would be moved around interestingly, wouldn't they? Yes, I admitted. So we're both checking that place out. That's true. I don't know that Talbot's not a player, but if he is, Lucky's not his companion. Interesting. Have you or Lucky seen any other candidates about the place? No. He seems to prefer plants to animals. Could a plant be a companion? I don't know. They're alive, but kind of limited in what they can do. I don't know. Maybe. Well, this will all shake down in a few days, I'm sure. in ample time for the work to be done. Should I say redeemed or preserved? Let's say messed with, either way. He closed his left eye and opened it again. And the good doctor? I prompted. Oh, yes, he was the other one that Tickler knew about, but I was intrigued when she insisted that there were 3 people living there, not 2. Huh? I flew out to investigate during another one of those nasty storms that always seem to be in progress in the area. And she was right. There was a big fellow lurching about the place. Drunk, perhaps. Biggest man I've ever seen. He was only about for a little while during the height of the storm. Then he lay down on the fancy bed in the basement. The good doctor covered him up entirely with a sheet. He didn't stir again. That's strange. Bobo have anything to say about this? Bah! You ought to send Greymalk after him. If I don't get him first, that is. Rats aren't as salty as bats. Tougher, though. He's worthless for information. Won't trade for anything. Either he's stupid, ignorant, or just closed-mouthed. I don't think he's stupid. Then I'm not sure he knows what his best intentions are. Either way, he's not any use to the rest of us. I'll have to corner him sometime. Don't eat the tail. They're no good. He chuckled again. If you find out more about Talbot or this place, let's talk again. Plants, huh? He spread his wings and swooped into the south. I watched him vanish into the night. Formidable. I circled the mansion again, checking a few windows. Then I heard the back door open. I was near the front at the time, and I rushed around, concealing myself behind a tree. Good kitty, said the great detective in a well-controlled falsetto. He was still disguised as Linda Enberly. Come visit us again sometime. Greymalk was deposited on the back steps, and the door was closed. I cleared my throat, but she sat there for a time, grooming herself, before wandering off in the other direction. Suddenly, she was beside me. Are you all right? I asked her. Fine. Let's walk. I headed southward. She has a good memory, that old lady, Gray finally said. In what respect? Her servant spotted me, and suddenly returned to the kitchen, and she heard me call out. She came back and called me by name. She was very nice, even gave me a saucer of milk, which I felt obligated to drink. Who'd have thought anyone would look at a cat well enough to recognize her later, not to mention remembering her name? Maybe she likes cats. Must have if she wanted to feed you. But in that case, don't you think she'd have one of her own? But she doesn't. There were no signs. Just has a good eye and a good memory then, I guess. We crossed the road, and we kept going. I guess so. So I got to look around pretty well before they found me. And there's a windowless room with a wide door and a niche in the far wall. It's stone, by the way. The old place has gone through a lot of changes, and that niche seemed about right to have held an altar at one time. There were even a few small crosses chiseled into the stone. A bit of Latin. I think it was. Good, I said, in one way. What's the other way? Nightwind knows about it. He came by while you were inside, and we talked. The White Raven, by the way, is named Tikla. Oh, he knows about her? And you were right about the vicar. It was a ceremonial killing, dues for getting into the game late. Sounds as if you had a long talk. We did. I better fill you in. Any special reason we're heading this way? Yes, that's part of it. We continued to the south and a bit to the west as I told her the things I'd learned. The air grew moist as we went, and the sky darkened as a blot in that particular area about which heaven's artillery flickered and boomed. So you want me to peer into the good doctor's windows again? In a word, yes. Cats aren't really fond of getting wet, she observed. Dogs aren't crazy about it either, I said. Then again, whoever wins, it'll still rain. That's true, she said a little later. I'm sure. How many times in a century does the full moon rise on Halloween? 3? 4? It varies, I responded. It's more interesting to ask on how many of those occasions do the appropriate people assemble to try for an opening or hold for closing. I couldn't guess. This is your first, of course. No, I said, and I did not elaborate, knowing just what I had given away. We walked on through the drizzle towards that place of brightness, keeping to the road as there were fewer wet things to brush up against there. As we drew nearer, I saw that the front door of its farmhouse stood open. Light spilled out through that rectangle, and someone was moving upon the roadway, headed towards us. Another discharge from the storm clouds gave the building a thorny corona of light, and outlined briefly in its glare, I saw a very big man. He was rapidly moving towards us in an ungainly but extremely fast pace. He was dressed in an ill-fitting garment, and my single glimpse of his face showed him to be somehow misshapen, lopsided. He halted before us, swaying, turning his head side to side. Fascinated, I stared. The rain had washed all sense from the air until we had achieved this proximity. Now, though, I could smell him, and he grew even stranger to me, for it was the sick, sweet smell of death that informed his person reached outward from it. His movements were not aggressive, and he regarded us with something akin to a child's simple curiosity. A tall figure suddenly appeared at the farmhouse door, looking outward, looking into the night, his laboratory coat flapping in the wind. The giant figure before me leaned forward, staring into my face. Slowly, unthreateningly, he extended his right hand towards me and touched me on the head. "Good dog," he said in a harsh, cracked voice. "Good dog," he said as he patted me. Then he turned his attention to Greymouth, and moving with a speed that belied his earlier gesture, he snatched her up from the ground and held her to his breast. "Kitty," he said then. "Pretty kitty." Clumsily, he moved to stroke her with his other hand, rain streaming down his face now, dripping from his garments. "Pretty snuff," Greymouth wailed. "He's hurting me. Too tight. His grip's too tight." I began barking immediately, hoping to distract into relaxing his grip. "Hello, hello," came a call from the man at the farmhouse. "Come back. You must come back now." I kept barking, and the man dashed outside, rushing in our direction. He's let up a little, but I still can't get free, Greymouth told me. Apparently confused, the huge man turned on the approaching figure and back again. It appeared to be the good doctor headed our way. I kept up the barking since that seemed to have worked. When the good doctor came up beside the giant, he rested a hand on his arms. "Raining cats and dogs, I see," he said. I stopped barking as the giant turned his head and stared at him. Doubtless he was at a loss for words in the face of such wit. "The doggy wants you to put the kitty down," he said. "The kitty wants to get down now, too. Put her down and come back with me now. It's a bad night to be outside with all this rain." "Bad night," the big man responded. "Yes. So put the kitty down and come with me." "Bad rain," rejoined the other. "Indeed. Cat. Down. Now. Come now with me." "Cat. Kitty. "Oh," said the big fellow, and he leaned forward and deposited Grey Milk gently on the road. His eyes met mine as he rose, and he added, "Good dog." "I'm sure," said the good doctor, taking hold of his arm with both hands now and turning him back towards the farmhouse. "Let's get out of here," Grey Milk said. And we did.